and welcome to this week's Cruise Chat. I'm Kathleen Penner, owner of Plenty of Sunshine Travel, and today I'm joined by Jared, and Jared is from Scenic Cruises, and I've met with Jared several times before. If you want to look back at the YouTube videos, it is episode 7 and 20. If you want to get caught up, other than that, just tune in and we're going to learn more today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kathleen, and thank you everybody for taking the time to tune in. Very excited to be here today and present on Emerald Cruises. So Kathleen just alluded to the fact that Emerald is also partnered with Scenic. So Scenic is the big company, the big sister of Emerald Cruises. But Emerald is our sister brand I'd like to highlight and give you folks a nice introduction today because I think there's a lot of great value in Emerald Cruises. So I'd like to showcase some of our inclusions, a few of our popular itineraries, and we should be done in about half hour. So pretty painless. But if there's any questions, Kathleen, feel free to shut them out along the way and I'll happily address them. So folks, Emerald Cruises actually started up in 2014. So we're now into our 7th year of operation. And so Scenic, our big sister, has been in business for over 30 years, but Scenic being the all-inclusive luxury brand, we wanted to offer an alternative where there's still plenty of inclusions, but not quite that same full-on white glove, all-inclusive service that Scenic offers. So I'll explain the differences as we go through here today. But a few things I just wanted to point out right off the bat, and you'll notice at the bottom of the screen here of the slide, you'll notice that for 5 years running, we have actually won the Cruise Critic Award for the most value when it comes to a river cruise. So I hope when you folks are researching the different cruise lines, because there's so many great companies out there, I hope you are taking the time to go online and look through the reviews and compare apples and apples. And you'll notice, again, for 5 years running, we have won the most value when it comes to a river cruise. So that's really, really important to understand what's into the package. And that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit as we get into the presentation today. But first and foremost, I do think it is important to just mention our commitment to health and safety. Obviously, 2020 and now even into 2021, we're still dealing with the COVID pandemic and we are suspended currently sailing. But once we resume, safety, health and safety is priority number one. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time getting into this, but I just wanted to put this up on screen so you can see that these are all the areas that we are addressing. And if we want to take some more time to do a little more deeper of a dive in health and safety, Kathleen, we can do that at a later point. But just rest assured that health and safety is always going to be priority number one with us. So why go on a river cruise? For many of you who've never gone on a river cruise before, there's so many different reasons that are exciting. For me, what I love particularly is the ability to just unpack once and you're in a floating hotel and you're going into the heart of all these amazing cities day after day. So you're really not missing out on exploration time by going to a hotel and then going to a coach and then driving to the destinations and then checking into the hotel. So really being on the cruise, it allows you to have ample time for exploration and not worrying about jumping from hotel to hotel. So your floating luxury hotel is here. The other thing that I love is that we're a very intimate ship. We only have about 80 cabins on board and 180 guests. So opposed to a 5,000, 6,000 person ocean cruise line, you're going to get a very intimate atmosphere on here. And what's common, for those of you who have cruised, you know this to be true, is that you become a family with everybody so quickly when you're traveling on a river cruise because of the intimacy, because the opportunity to network and mingle with your fellow travelers is a lot easier. So become a family, which is great. Got lots of inclusions. We do have excursions that are included every single day as well, too. So you always have something to do as we port in different cities. You're never going to be totally left alone. So lots of organized excursions. And then we have lots of leisure time as well, too. So that's what I love about going on tours or cruises is that you do have this structure to follow, but then you do have lots of independent time as well. And that's really what I like. So a few things that I want to highlight as far as the Emerald inclusions go. So we talked about the Cruise Critic identifying us as having great value. And these are some of the reasons why. So to start off, all your gourmet food is included. That's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So no matter what, that's always going to be there for you. And the food is specific and unique to the destination where we are. So let's say we're sailing through Germany, for example. You might have a Koststreicher beer and some schnitzel, some Wiener Schnitzel for dinner. So you get that local, authentic flavor. Let's say that you don't want that and you want something a little more Canadianized. This is one aspect I love about Emerald is you can always order a steak and fries or a burger and fries if you don't want that local cuisine, although I do encourage you to eat that local food. That's why you're traveling, of course. But if you want something a little more comforting, you do have those options as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing, folks, is that we include wine, beer, and soft drinks with lunch and dinner, and that's unlimited for lunch and dinner. So you don't need to worry about purchasing drinks during those hours unless it's more of a hard drink, for example, hard liquor like a rum and coke or a scotch or something like that. But wine, beer, and soft drinks are included with lunch and dinner. Now, you are available to purchase drinks individually, or you could purchase a drink package for one single day, or you could purchase a drink package for the entire cruise if you'd like, where you can have wine, beer, pretty much all day long. Or if you want the hard liquors, you can purchase that drink package as well. So different choices that you can select from, but you do have some already included during your lunches and dinners. So I just mentioned before, we have included daily excursions. So this is nothing that you pay out of pocket for. These are already built into the itinerary for you to enjoy. So as we port every single day, you will have an excursion to enjoy. We've also introduced a few new activities such as Emerald Active. So we understand that our guests prefer to be active on these trips. And it's not just so much sitting around and looking or jumping on a coach after we get off the cruise ship to go on an excursion, but we wanted to introduce active programs. So for example, you can take out bikes. We do have bikes on board some of our select ships. The exception of the Douro River is really the only one where we don't. But the other programs, let's say you're going through the Black Forest and you want to take out a bike, you can check that out. Just a little form to sign. We'll provide the helmet for you and you're good to go. We also have included tours that do a biking tour. So we'll actually have a guide that will be on a bike and lead the group. So not only can you check out the bike independently, you can also participate in a group bike ride, which is a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And they will go at the pace that is according for you. So let's say you're a little more active. We'll have one group that's going a little bit faster. If you're a little bit more leisurely paced, we'll have another group, both fully guided, but one will be a little bit faster and one will be a little bit shorter. So that way you can just go at your own pace and really not worry about keeping up with people who are going too fast. And if you just want to go leisure, you can do that. But if you do want to go full speed, then you're welcome to. So anyway, go at your own speed. Emerald Plus. So Emerald Plus, I'm going to talk about in another slide coming up here, but the Emerald Plus excursions are really these unique experiences. So we'll save that when we get to the slide. It's just another couple slides from here, but I'll go into that. But more importantly, folks, again, pay attention to what is included. So airport transfers, gratuities, port charges, all of that is built into the program already. So it is really, really important. If you are comparing us with other companies, as I suggest you do, but just make sure that you recognize what's included. So we do have this. Your journey really starts from the airport to the ship, and no totally hassle-free. Gratuities, as you know, can add up very significantly by the end of a 9 or 10 day cruise. And let's say you're going on a 15, 16 day cruise. So having those gratuities built in, definitely, you don't need to worry about that once you're on board or worrying about tallying a huge bill at the end of your trip, which is really great.
Yeah.
Complimentary Wi-Fi on board as well too. So we've got lots of space for you to spread out, relax, log on to the Wi-Fi. I've been privileged to sail a couple of times with Emerald myself, and I can tell you that the Wi-Fi connection has been fairly strong. You know, there's a lot of times where people say it doesn't quite work. Now, of course, don't hold me to it if your connection wobbles in and out. It does depend where you are on the rivers, but just through my experience, I'm saying that the connection has been fairly strong while sailing, and then definitely while we're docked. It's very, very strong as well too. So complimentary Wi-Fi on board for everybody to use. Complimentary bottles of water restocked every day as well too. So you don't need to worry about that. We've got sparkling water available for you to grab within your suite. And then as we go off on excursions, we've got a table full of water that you can grab a bottle or two on the way out. So you can take care of that as well, or take that with you. I already talked about the gratuities as well. So folks, these are just a little bit of the main inclusions that we have to offer that sort of separates the Emerald value. So again, please read through these a little bit more carefully online or talk to Kathleen, and it should give you a good idea of those. But what I mentioned before was Emerald Plus, the included excursions that we offer. So these are great experiences. I want you folks to get excited when you see something called Emerald Plus, because these are the culturally immersive activities that really give you a sense of the antiquities and the flavors of the culture that you're traveling to. So unique, great experiences to immerse yourselves. It's not, we don't want you to feel like a tourist and there's a site and there's a site. We really want you to get a sense of where you are. So these are these great in-depth cultural experiences. For example, we've got castle tours, we've got chateau explorations or culinary demonstrations. Those are a lot of fun, or wine tastings where everybody gets involved and you try the food, you try the drinks. If you take a look at the bottom left image here, that's Henry in the blue shirt who's toasting everybody sitting down. And that's actually Henry's part of he's a Slovakian. It's a local Slovakian family that actually brings us into their home and will serve us some tea and cookies and talk about their history and their culture. So you get to really hear it from the horse's mouth, opposed to just reading it out of an itinerary or looking around. This gives you a chance to talk and ask questions and really get a sense of the way of life over in a different country.
Wow.
So get very excited about these Keukenhof Gardens as well. As a great experience for anybody who's interested in the springtime tulip river. When you're heading off to the Netherlands region, Holland, Belgium, that's, gorgeous area. So Keukenhof Gardens every spring, also one of the very exciting Emerald Plus excursions that we offer. So these are included. Just want everybody to know that. So we talked a little bit before just about the active program. So we've got biking, we've got hiking available as well too. I did mention that on the Douro, because it's a smaller ship, we actually take less passengers on board the Douro River. And just due to the nature of the windy hills of the Douro Valley, the UNESCO Douro Valley, it's not really conducive for bike riding. So we don't have bikes on that, but we do have canoeing available. So if you want to get out and row away and work up your biceps, it's a great workout to get into the Douro and paddle in a canoe. So lots of different activities that everybody can participate in. And then recently, just as I believe as early as 2019 is when we introduced our activity manager. So we actually have somebody on board to lead these active events. So again, if you take a look at the bottom left image in our swimming pool, and we do have a swimming pool on board, you can do some aqua therapy, which is really fun. Take advantage. It's a nice heated pool. You can go in, you can see all the beautiful scenery around you and enjoy some aqua therapy. Alternatively, if you'd like to go onto the sun deck, we do have yoga sessions as well too. There's a little mini putt where you can shoot some hole-in-ones if you'd like. So lots of things to keep you active and going as we're sailing, and to keep you entertained before we get off the ship on our excursions. So take advantage of the activity manager. The other fun thing too, Kathleen, you might like this, in the evenings, the activity manager actually turns into a DJ at night. So in the Horizon Bar and Lounge, where we come usually after dinners, where people like to gather, the activities manager will play different sort of trivia games or play music. Maybe it's an 80s night or something like that. So lots of fun for everybody to get involved with. Now, Discover More. This is important, folks. So Discover More is one of the only optional excursions that you will see on our cruises. And when I say optional, that means it will be an out-of-pocket expense. That's something that you can sign up for if you'd like. Now, usually the Discover Mores do not conflict with, let's say, an Emerald Plus that's included. A Discover More most likely will be featured during a leisure time, something like that. So you won't have any conflicting overlaps if you want to participate one and the other. You can usually do both, but just be advised that Discover More is an optional excursion that is out of pocket. Now, you can sign up prior to going, and I usually recommend doing that just because sometimes it is limited to availability. There might only be, 15 guests who are allowed to go on a Discover More excursions or whatever the numbers may be. So it's a good idea to sign up in advance to ensure that you have your space. And then secondly, when you sign up in advance, you're actually going to pay Canadian dollars, opposed to while you're on board, they're going to charge you in euros and do the conversion or whatever. So if you do know for sure there is a Discover More that you want to participate in, my recommendation is to sign up in advance, not to say that you can't sign up when you get on board, but just to make sure that you're on, and maybe just in Canadian dollars might save you a couple dollars too. But just be advised of that. But these are great collection of excursions as well, activities and experiences, guided tour through Salzburg, which is, just one of the most gorgeous places, winery tours through Austria and France. So again, it's kind of an extension of the Emerald Plus, but a few different experiences on there. So when you see Discover More in the brochure, please have a read through. Now, we do have quite an extensive fleet of ships. Starships is what we call them. You can see just on the Rhine, Main, Danube rivers, we've got the Sky, the Dawn, Destiny, and so on. We're introducing the brand new Luna, which will be setting sail this year in 2021. So we're very excited about that. We've got the Liberté down in France. We've got the Radiance over on the Douro River. And then if you folks are interested in Southeast Asia, we have the Emerald Harmony, which was just released in 2019. So relatively brand new ship. She's gorgeous. Southeast Asia is one of my favorite places in the world. So if you haven't gone, I highly recommend going. And the Harmony is a perfect spot to do it. So Maybe we can highlight the Harmony on another one of our calls, Kathleen.
Sure.
But today I'm going to focus a little more for anybody who's never gone on a river cruise before and highlight our popular European itineraries. But again, we can look at the Mekong and some other destinations on another call. But here's a deck plan of the ship, just to give you an idea. Now, I know sometimes folks can be intimidated when you're walking onto a cruise ship, but a river cruise ship, again, it's very small. It's very easy to navigate. I'd say within an afternoon, once you embark, you'll be very familiar with where to go. So just starting from the bottom, you'll see the Riviera Deck, and I'll show you what they actually look like inside as well too, so you get a great look. So the Riviera Deck, those are the entry-level suites, our lead-in categories. Then we go up to the Vista Deck, and then we have the Horizon Deck, and a lot of similar suites are on those two decks. And then we've got the Sun Deck at the top. So that's where you can go up and get your 360-degree view, and we've got barbecues up there, and like I said, mini putt and yoga. So lots of things that you can do on the Sun Deck. But for me, I just love getting the fresh air and taking in the scenery, especially if the weather permits you to do so. Usually I'm up on the Sun Deck if you're ever sailing with me. But let's go inside, because I know you're all eager to see what it looks like. So here's a little glance at the reception atrium. And if you take a look at the bottom, it's kind of blocked a little bit, but there's a front desk. And somebody is always going to be at the front desk 24/7. One of the new health and safety measures that we're going to implement is contact-free check-in and check-out. So you're not really going to have to go to the desk, and we'll have sanitizer stations, of course, set up throughout the facility. But that's just one of the things that we're implementing for health and safety. So here's the Horizon Bar and Lounge. You'll notice that it's very light in here. So the floor-to-ceiling windows are equipped throughout the entire facility. We've got very comfortable seating. This is where you can come use the Wi-Fi or read a book. Where the camera's facing, if that's where the bar is located, so you can kind of see where the fruit is sitting on the bar side there. This is the bar section. So if you want to come, we often have specialty drinks every single day, or you can get your traditional drinks, your rum and cokes, or your cranberry vodkas, whatever you're into. It's all back here as well. So Horizon Bar and Lounge, this is really the heart of the ship. This is where we come together for debriefings to give us an idea of the next day's itinerary, and our evening entertainment is usually held over here as well too. So this is definitely the heart of the ship. Now, this is Reflections Restaurant. So if you're like me, one of the main reasons why you love to travel is to eat. That's one of the main reasons I love to go to different countries. So we try to bring that local flavor and cuisine within Reflections Restaurant. Now, one of the other health and safety protocols that we will be implementing, now, I just also want to reiterate that this is up for change. Nothing's concrete yet. And once we resume sailing, we'll have a much better idea. But some of the strategies that we're going to be implementing is something like reducing buffet service. So generally breakfast, we'd have a buffet, but I think what we're going to do moving forward is actually have one of our waiters stationed there and dispense everything and be properly equipped with PPE equipment. So that way you're not getting a bunch of hands touching different spoons and forks to serve yourself, or we'll either just do totally a la carte. So lunch, usually breakfast and lunch, you have the ability to go to the buffet. Also at lunch, you can order a la carte, but I think, again, we might be shifting all the way over to a la carte, or the buffet will be served by one of our people. So anyway, long story short, your safety is definitely thought through during the dining process as well. Now, when it comes to clothing, we definitely do not require any sort of mandatory, dress code. Just whatever you're comfortable with. This is your dream vacation. If you want to dress up, you're certainly welcome to. The times that we notice people put on something a little more fancy, that's usually our welcome and farewell dinner. But if you want to be casual, you can do that as well. It's whatever you'd like. Open table seating concept, no assigned seats, so you're welcome to mingle with your fellow guests. We encourage you to change tables. There's seating for 2, 4, 6, and 8, I believe. Whether the seating arrangements change, we'll keep you posted on that. But as of now, it's still open table seating, and you're free to sit wherever you'd like. So we do also have the Dine Al Fresco. This is at the front of the ship. So if you want to get outside, again, if you're sailing in the spring, summer, or fall, weather permitting, it's great to get out, see the fresh air, and just relax out here. Have a coffee, have a drink, have a snack, and see the beautiful water. What I notice a lot of people generally like to do is when we're going through the different lock systems, people love to come out and look at it. if we're not doing one overnight, you can actually, or if you want to wake up overnight, you can look at it. But if we're doing one, let's say early in the morning, you can actually get out and you're right there and you can see it's really a unique system how they do it. So go outside and enjoy that. I talked about the sun deck a little bit before and we looked at the deck plans. So here's an actual view of it at the top here, so you can see there's a little track you'll notice that goes around. So a lot of people like to do lap walking in the morning to get some exercise. So it's a great idea to do that with the fresh air.
And I see
we do also have
there too.
Pardon me?
I saw a game of tic-tac-toe there too, the big X's. Yeah. That's kind of neat.
Yeah. So you keep yourself entertained, of course. Yeah, lots of fun activities. We do also have the spa and wellness facility on board. So the gym, for example, you'll notice the bottom right image. We have a weight rack, we have a treadmill, we have a bike, we have towels and water readily available. So this is available complimentary for anybody to use. So just go in any time of the day. We also have the top right image is a hair salon. So if you wanted to go get a haircut or maybe have some coloring done or something of that along those lines, that is available for purchase. So you can go into the hair salon and purchase a cut or whatever you need. We also have massage therapists on board as well too. Now this is also available for purchase. So if you want a massage treatment, you can buy that on board as well too. So just remember that the gym is complimentary, but the other spa and wellness features will incur a charge should you choose to use them.
Right.
Now let's go inside the boutique suites because I know you're eager to see what they look like. So let's have a look at remember on the deck plan, the Riviera was the lowest level and the entry level. This is what the Riviera Deck suites look like, the Emerald stateroom. So this is just your entry level stateroom. It's about 170 square feet. What's important to note about this, and for those of you who probably don't want to spend too much time in your suite, this is a great option. But for those of you who do spend a little bit more time in your suites, the one thing I'll caution you is that this is just a porthole window. It's not something that comes down. It's not a balcony because you are on that lowest level. So just please take that into consideration. But all suites do come equipped with a luxury bathroom. So you'll notice the nice tile in the shower, the adjustable shower head, your luxury bath products, your soaps, your shampoos, conditioners, all that is replenished every single day for you. We do have a hair dryer as well, so you don't need to worry about bringing one on board. And we do have the hair dryers with the European connections as well, so you don't worry about an adapter for that. But if you are plugging in your own devices, you might want to bring an adapter or converter depending on what you're doing. But all suites do come equipped with this luxury bathroom here. Now, moving on up, so like I said, if we head up to the Vista deck, this is our panorama balcony suite. Now, you'll notice it's not massively larger than what we just looked at, our entry-level suite, only about 10, 20 square feet larger. However, the biggest difference is you've got that floor-to-ceiling window here, and it's sort of an indoor balcony. All you have to do, you can't see it from the image, but on the left of the window, there's just a button you push, and the window comes halfway down, and then you get the fresh air coming into your suite. So that way, you get a lot more light in this room and you get the fresh air and an indoor balcony, which is really great. The other thing I want to address just on health and safety, as far as air circulation goes, we do not use any recycled air in the ship. It's all taken from the outside, goes through your suite, and then goes right back outside. So again, rest assured that the air filtration system is top of the line here. So this is our Panama balcony suite. Again, you'll notice the HD television. There are mini bars located in the suites as well too. Those are for purchase.
Okay.
So you'll find, again, Scotch, rum, vodka, gin, little Cokes and can of Pringles and things like that. So yeah, feel free to use that, but just remember that there is an extra charge for the mini bar. Now here's the grand balcony suite. So now we're actually getting a little bit bigger here, significantly, about 210 square feet larger. And right away, you'll notice that the suite does go out a little bit more, and then you have an outdoor balcony here. So you still have the automatic top-down window, your floor-to-ceiling window with the push of a button, but you have the ability to actually seal this balcony off from the suite. So if somebody wants to be outside reading a book or just getting the fresh air while somebody's inside, maybe taking a nap or watching television, you can actually get some privacy that way. Like I mentioned, all the suites do come with that luxury bathroom, which I showcased on the first suite. And then I know you're all going to rush to book the owner's one-bedroom suite. That's probably the pinnacle of the accommodations here. Limited in availability. Of course, there's not too many of them on board, usually just a couple. But you'll notice that you have not only your bedroom with your floor-to-ceiling window, but you have a living room with an outdoor balcony, and then it can be sealed off. So the bedroom can be sealed off from the living room, and the balcony can be sealed off from the living room. So you can compartmentalize the suite, which is great. And it's much, much larger. Now, when you book into the owner's one-bedroom suite, you're given a few extra perks. For example, that mini bar is complimentary.
Okay.
So you're welcome to take whatever you'd like, and it's replenished every single day. So one of the perks of the owner's one-bedroom suite. Now, the other perk is that you're given Emerald Concierge service. And what that means is we can actually bring breakfast to your suite, opposed to you going to Reflections restaurant and being with everybody for breakfast, which you can still certainly do. But you do have the ability to get Emerald Concierge service where, yeah, we'll bring you some treats and some snacks, and you get a few extra perks. So we can talk a little bit more about that later on. But take full advantage of all the perks that you get. Now, here's the heated swimming pool. Like I mentioned, we do have one on board. I was baffled when I was sailing with us. The few cruises that I went on, I found that the pool area was always empty. And I would highly recommend folks, especially if you're sailing in the summertime, Europe gets very hot. Make sure that you bring a pair of swimming trunks. This is a heated swimming pool. It is large enough that you could swim some lengths as well, too. It's a great spot to cool off. You'll notice the bar, comfortable seating throughout the facility here, the floor to ceiling window. So make sure you bring your swimming suit. Take advantage.
It's a very good size of a swimming pool on a river cruise ship. That is a great size. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, sorry, I'll go back just once because as I mentioned, the Douro River is a smaller ship and we don't take as many guests. So on the Douro, the swimming pool is actually on the sun deck and it's a much smaller pool. So just be cautioned if you're going to go on the Douro, you don't have this length of a swimming pool, just a little bit of a different ship. All the other European ones will have this though.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is on select evenings, what we do, I'll go back again, going to get everybody sick going back and forth, but I want you to just bring your eyes to the top of the screen and you'll notice that the roof is open. So it's a retractable roof so you can get fresh air as you're swimming, which is really cool. And then on select evenings, what we do is we close the roof and we'll flush out all the water. We'll set up a projector and we bring in all these comfortable seats and, we swab the deck and we clean everything up and we turn it into a cinema at night. So you can watch great Hollywood classics. You can get some popcorn, have a drink, and just totally relax. If you want to see the process of how it's actually done, if you just go on our website, there's actually a video of them speeding up the cleaning process. They do it in like 60 seconds, but it's like a fast forwarded type of thing. But it's really neat. So check it out. But on select evenings, if you just want to relax and watch a movie, that's a great spot to do it. So let me get over into some of our itineraries over here. Now, as I mentioned, we do sail the entire world. We're not limited to just Europe, although I'm going to just talk about some European itineraries because traditionally for people who have never cruised before, Europe is usually the front of the top of the bucket list. So, but please be advised that we do Asia. We do have a yacht cruise as well, too, that does the Mediterranean. We've got, Egypt and Jordan. So we've got the entire world that we do. We're not limited to just Europe. But for today's presentation, we're just going to focus on Europe. And here are the top sellers. So for folks who have never gone on a river cruise before, these would be the main itineraries that I would recommend. Now, even if you have gone on a river cruise before, the Splendors is such an exciting program. You'll probably want to do it 2 or 3 times because there's so much to do in that one. But for any first timer, this would be great. So let me start off here with the Splendors of Europe. This is a 15-day itinerary, very comprehensive. And you can sail either from Amsterdam down to Budapest or Budapest up to Amsterdam in reverse. But you'll notice that we're going through the Netherlands, we're going through Germany, we're going through Austria, we make a stop in Slovakia, and we also end in Hungary. So many countries on this program. And some amazing cities as well, too. So Amsterdam is, a pretty exciting place on its own. I talked a little bit about Keukenhof Gardens earlier. That's one of the stops that you'll make over in the Netherlands over there. But just as far as, if you want to take out one of the bikes for a bike ride, this is a great spot because there's so many canals in Amsterdam. So take out a bike. So many people, Amsterdam has more bikes than anywhere else in the world already. So be careful, but take out a bike and go check it around. There's the great train station as well. There's even the red light district, which I encourage just walking around to take in the atmosphere, not participate in anything, but just go for the atmosphere and check it out. So Amsterdam is just a really, really exciting place. We continue, we sail down to Cologne. We actually dock a couple hundred feet away from the famous cathedral in Cologne, the medieval cathedral. It's really, you dock, you get off the ship and you're right there. So it's pretty spectacular. It's a cool spot, a medieval town. Rudesheim, known for great music. If you're into classic music, there is a music museum over there as well. For any history buff, Nuremberg is obviously the center of the Nazi war trials, birthplace of Nazi Germany, and of course the trials after. So that's for me. I'm a huge World War II buff. That's one of my favorite stops on the trip. Austria for any music lover, your classical music, this is where you want to be. Vienna, Dernstein is great for, if you want to do a little hike, we do have an active program there as well too. Bratislava, of course, like I mentioned, in Slovakia, that's where we'll meet with our local family, gives you a unique experience. And then in Budapest, that's where we either end or start the trip. But we're actually docked right across from the Parliament building, so it's really, really gorgeous. And there's so much to do. Fisherman's Bastion, Hero Square. There's just a lot to do in Budapest, and it's one of my favorite cities in all of Europe. So this would be probably the best itinerary for a first-time river cruiser. But even if you've done a river cruise, and even if you've overlapped some of these areas, this would be a great one to do again, or even just for the first time, even if you have river cruise. So Splendors of Europe, one of my favorite programs. Now, the Danube highlights, if you can't get away for 15 days, this is pretty much half of what we just looked at. So it's 8 days, Nuremberg to Budapest, or in reverse. So similar stops, except we'll be flying into Munich on this one. Over to Regensburg is where we'll embark on the ship, and then we'll sail down to Budapest, or vice versa. So again, a little bit of a shorter trip, but pretty much the same of what we just looked at from the Splendors. Now, the Danube, Kathleen, you could probably attest to the fact the Danube is one of the most popular waterways in all of Europe, and I think the lower Danube is very exciting as well too. So again, here's the Danube Explorer. It's an 8-day program, 8-day cruise. Sorry, a 7-night cruise, 8-day total. And some similarities to what we just looked at, but there's Český Krumlov in this as well too, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And it's sort of like stepping back in time, going to a fairy tale city. I mean, that's just how cool it is. Bratislava, Budapest, Vienna, we talked about Linz. So a little bit of a few different stops on this program, but still you're getting some amazing cities in here. So that's the Danube Explorer. Here's the Jewels of the Rhine, also one of our 8-day programs. And again, some similarities, but instead of heading more toward the east, we're going to head off to the west here. So Amsterdam, Cologne, we talked about, Koblenz. Heidelberg, by the way, has one of Germany's oldest universities. And right when you get off the river, you can see where the university sits overlooking the river. And you can walk up there and get a great look below. It's quite breathtaking. So Germany's oldest university is in Heidelberg. My favorite city on this entire program is actually Strasbourg in France. And it's a blend of German and French architecture and influence, because over the course of history, as the border lines have changed, it's either been German or it's been in France. And of course, now it's on the French side and has been for quite a while. But there is a big German influence over there. But there's the famous cathedral. It's a Gothic Baroque style cathedral there. And it is, I mean, I can't even describe it in words. It's just totally breathtaking. It's such a charming, beautiful town. It stood out to me as my favorite. So I think a lot of you would like it as well. Brissac, Black Forest. So how about taking a hike through the Black Forest, or going on a bike ride and trying some cake as well over there too, the famous Black Forest cake. So this is a really cool program. And then you end off in Switzerland and Basel. Now, what I do recommend a lot of times, folks, because of the time change when you're heading over to Europe, it's a good idea to either do a pre or a post night. Pre-nights are usually what I recommend, just for getting used to the time change and not, maybe getting a little extra exploration time in the city before you embark on the ship and then set sail. It's just usually a good idea. So take some time in Amsterdam, take some time in Basel. Kathleen, you can set that up through us, or you can do it independently, but something I do recommend doing. So definitely take the time to do that. Here's the Majestic Grind. So a little bit different, a few different stops here, another 8-day program. This time we fly into Frankfurt. We'll head down to Mainz. There's some similarities here in Rudesheim and Koblenz and Heidelberg. But how about the fact that we go to Baden-Baden? There's the famous, casino over there. Strasbourg, Brissac, Colmar, and Basel as well too. So some similarities, but different, unique cities. So I think it just depends what you're most interested in, and if there is a particular city that you feel inclined to visit. I would sift through the different itineraries and see what suits you most. But as you notice, there is a lot of overlap as well too. So you can see a lot. And like I mentioned just before, extending your stay is definitely a highly recommended idea. So whether you want to do it a pre or a post night, we can definitely set that up for you. When you are extending with one of our hotel properties, we will still have transfers included. Now, let's say you decide to come in early, but book yourself in your own hotel. Transfers won't be included in that case. But if you book through us, through a pre-night or 5 pre-nights, whatever you decide to do, we can still arrange for the transfer from the hotel to the ship as long as it's one of our approved hotels.
Mm-hmm.
And it just has to do with routing and all that. But yeah, please take advantage. Do the pre-nights. You can set them up. You still have all your inclusions. Airfare, we'll just change the departure dates and set you up in a hotel, and then the cruise commences. So it's a great way to really take in the scenery and all that.
Yeah, and you arrive refreshed and ready to sail and just relaxed too.
Absolutely. It's such a good way to do it. So before we wrap up, I just wanted to address a few helpful hints and tips. That some frequently asked questions that we constantly get. I wish I could promise good weather. Unfortunately, I can't do that. But one thing I do recommend is that the historical weather is all tracked. So you can research the time of year that you're going, and usually it gives you a good idea online, or, talk to Kathleen. Kathleen, you come talk to me and we can look. But the best thing for clothing, it's just to have something you can peel on and off. Layers is what they recommend. And again, just check online. Now, like I mentioned before, we are currently suspended due to the COVID pandemic. We, we're hoping to sail again sometime this year. I don't want to say an exact date because it's still very much up in the air, but generally we are sailing from March to right until Christmas time. We have Christmas market cruises as well. So generally we're sailing throughout the entire year. Of course, this last year and this year have been a little bit different. Medical. Now, generally we do not have a doctor on board. Now, one of the health and safety measures that we will address moving forward is actually having a medical specialist on board. And that person, I believe, will actually be administering a COVID test prior to getting on board, doing a rapid testing system. So again, stay tuned for more details on that. Nothing is written in stone, but this is just something that I believe we will be implementing and having somebody actually on board moving forward. We talked about clothing in relation to weather. So again, dress as you want. You can be casual, you can be dressed up, whatever you prefer. We talked about tipping as well. That is included. If you want to tip above and beyond, that's totally up to you and your discretion, but rest assured, gratuities are included. I did mention a little bit about the electricity unit. So again, if you're bringing something like a cell phone to charge, make sure you have the appropriate adapter. It is European outlets over there. We sometimes have the pieces on board, but there might only be 4 or 5 of them. And if they're all gone, then you're kind of out of luck. So bring your own. And lastly, folks, we do not permit any smoking on board. I think that's pretty obvious. If you do need to smoke, there is a small little section on the sunroof that you can go to. But we do recommend it's probably best to just wait until we get off. Again, being on a river cruise, we're not out at sea for 3 or 4 days. We're docking every single day, and lots of time for you to get off the ship and smoke. So just be mindful of everybody around you. If you have to smoke on board, please go to that one section on the sun deck. And then the last thing I want to mention, folks, is that we have implemented Cruise with Confidence, which is to put our guests' minds at ease booking now during the pandemic. So what we've done is we've actually reduced our deposit from $500 per person down to $250 per person. And that should soften the blow of a deposit because, again, we understand it's, some uncertainty in the future. But one thing I can definitely say is that 2022 is looking like a phenomenal year. And I'm not just saying that for the sake of saying it. The truth is, since Canadian Thanksgiving, we have been on a very steady incline, and 2022 is rapidly filling up. And we know that when we open 2023, a few months down the road, that's going to fill up very quickly as well too. So with the reduced deposit, is all I'm trying to say is that alleviates some of the financial hardship to put some money down. We do also have the flexibility that you can change your departure date up to 60 days prior to departure as well. So please go online and read through the book with confidence. There's a lot of information in there, but I would encourage you to read through it. We are including deposit protection complimentary. Normally that's $125 per person, and we'll include that. And that really gives you the ability to change your departure date with sort of no penalty, minus any third-party costs. But again, please read through that online or talk to Kathleen, and she'll definitely go through that with you or get back to me. So I hope I didn't go too long today, folks, but it seemed like it flew by like that. And I know there's a lot of information in there, but I hope that gives you a sense of Emerald and the inclusions that we offer, where we sail, and what it looks like inside as well too. So I hope that was informative.
And
was
great. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah. If there's questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. Or if you have any right now, Kathleen, I'm happy to answer them too.
I don't. You covered everything so thoroughly. It was wonderful. And it's good to know that the mini bar is something like in your room that you would have to pay for, because some people would assume it's complimentary, and to be told that it's not is much better than finding a bill at the end. So that's wonderful.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you can use that definitely throughout the experience and the journeys. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for putting that all together. And I hope everybody has a great week.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Goodbye, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this week's cruise chat with Jared from Emerald Waterways. He did an amazing brand overview. It was so nice to see the ship as well as to see some of the itineraries that they have. And I absolutely love that covered pool, and it's heated and it's so big. Sometimes on river cruise lines, you get such a small swimming pool. And it was so nice to see that they have a really good sized pool and activities that you can do as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, in the bottom of the description, there'll be a link to a show notes page. I do a blog post for each and every recording that I do with all of the BDMs. And you can just click on that, and there'll be some different slides that we talked about, some pictures. So if you want to see them a little bit closer up, you can do that. There's also a way to contact me there. I have live chat on my website, as well as my email address and everything there. So my email address is Kathleen@plentyofsunshinetravel.com. If you'd like to contact me at all for booking your own river cruise or any of the other cruises that we discuss on our shows. If you're listening to this on our podcast, the Cruising the Wave podcast, thank you so much for listening, and I appreciate it. Also, there'll be a link to the show notes page on that, so you can see some of the pictures and the visual of it. Thank you so much for watching. Next week, I'm going to be talking to Virgin Voyages, and we're going to be going over some of their cool itineraries and some of their ships. They are a brand new cruise line. They were about to debut just before the pandemic hit, so they actually haven't set sail yet. So you'll be the first one to know. You get the inside information. So tune in next week. Thank you so much, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Bye.